Podcast.
It is a very nice lake. I'll give it that.
Chicago. Of course I have a coat, you idiot. Well, if Analysis was a person, he'd be a tool.
Did it again. Ladies and gentlemen, is that I am just going to say similar versions of what's already been established.
Improv.
That's just a theory. That's just a theory. We are roommates.
Alrighty. Welcome, everyone, to our podcast. I'm Dylan.
I'm Luke.
And it is for 2112, or in layman's terms, that's April 21st, 2012. I guess you still have to say that. It is Saturday. And we are doing crazy things tonight.
We are delivering a podcast to you.
Hey, Saturday night
podcast.
Luke and I have been talking. And, we wanted to kind of provide a podcast for you guys about a few things. We wanted to talk a little bit about improv, maybe delve a little bit into theory.
Theory, yes.
And today we just wanted to tell you why we love it.
Why we love it and why we moved here. Because, believe it or not, we moved here for improv.
Yep.
Of all the things to get us out of sunny Florida.
Beautiful sunny Florida.
And move to Chicago just in time for winter.
My dreams of owning a catamaran and parking it on the beach. Yeah. No, we totally moved here in October. Just in time.
Couldn't have been at a better time, as many people here were fond of telling me.
Many people anywhere. Everyone would just be like, oh, my favorite line was, oh, so do you have a coat? It's like,
yeah.
Of course I have a coat, you idiot. Like, I'm not going to move to Chicago and not have a coat.
No, because everywhere on Earth is like where I live in Florida. So clearly I wouldn't need a coat. That makes perfect sense.
It makes perfect sense. No, not at all.
I always got the, oh, you're here just in time. As if it was like an impending scary thing coming up.
From Chicagoans.
Yeah, I got that a lot from people up here.
Chicagites.
Mm-hmm. And it was always, sometimes it was delivered with the Chicagites. What was that?
Chicagites.
Oh, Chicagites, okay.
Chicagites.
Chicagites.
Like stalactites.
Stalactites. Hey, that's a callback to a scene you and I did way back at our, we did an alumni show at Eckerd College a few weeks back.
We did.
That was a good time.
Some of you might have seen it.
Yes, we are former members of Another Man's Trash. It is a improv troupe based in Eckerd College. They're on their 4th year now, and we were in it from the very beginning when it first started, so it's a new troupe, and we're glad to hear that they're still doing well down there. Yeah. And we're trying to start our own thing up here. And
Bob Marley might say at this point, much love to my Another Man's Trash members.
Actually, yes. And if I could tack on to that, they just...
Please do. Tack away.
I'm going to tack the tack on that. That it makes sense. They're having their finale tonight for the year as of right now.
Yeah.
So if we can give a little shout out to them, if any of them ever tune in and listen to this, our improv thoughts are with them as they finish off year 4 of Another Man's Trash. The very last original member is graduating, and so this is kind of closing the book on the us old farts. Doing improv.
Luke, I thought we agreed that we were going to keep this with minimal bad language, and here you are dropping the F-bomb, the fart bomb.
Whoa. Come on. If I can't talk about farts in this podcast.
This is highbrow stuff, guys, all right? This is highbrow stuff. We moved up to Chicago because we love it. We love improv. We both felt compelled in our souls, and I'm not saying this like to be, weird about it, but it's just like
in our souls, man.
And we were actually just having a conversation before we started, before we hit the record button on this guy, about kind of why we love it. And like one of the reasons why I love improv is just because of this feeling that it gives me. It's very hard to describe. I'm going to try right now.
Good luck.
When you're on stage, people talk about butterflies and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
Not in an entomologist sense, but butterflies on stage, and I get that, and I love it. I get this tingly sensation on stage, and I get this feeling on stage that like it's just everything's going to be okay with improv. Everything's going to be okay, and everything that's happening at that moment is just like the greatest thing. When you say something that's just generated naturally in the moment, from a suggestion from your scene partner, and you say something and it's truthful and it just gets a huge response from the audience and everyone's just really happy and like I love it. And so I'm a big thing of one of my big theories on improv that I think I made up myself. I don't think I'm stealing this from anyone else. Is improv is like an inside joke between you and the audience. And so that's why if people come in like halfway through an improv show,
a lot of
they
times
just don't get it because you're just creating all the way from the very beginning of the show, from the suggestion, from when the MC comes out and is talking to you. It's like you're creating this inside joke between you and the audience, and that show is your little inside joke, and no one's going to be privy to that inside joke because that show's never going to happen again. That inside joke never is going to be created again, and it's just there's so many ways to play with that. Once you're in that zone with the audience, so.
It's like you're creating art that's never going to be seen or appreciated again. I think that also makes it really special, which is why a lot of times if you watch improv on video or you're just even hearing from a friend like how funny they thought a certain show was, they're always it's always like, oh well, you should have been there. It was a great time.
Yeah.
Like it's always
the same with like inside jokes. You like should have been.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
like,
you weren't there.
Adding on to your inside joke analogy.
Hey, keep on tacking.
I'm the tack master over here.
Tack us on. Tacking, which is also a sailing term. Did you know that, Luke?
I did not.
When you are sailing upwind and you switch positions, you sail at 45s, ideally, 45 degrees to the wind heading. When you switch 45s to the other 45, you are tacking. Yeah, there you go.
That's a little nougat I can hold on to for a while.
A little nougat, if you will. A golden nougat.
Golden nougat.
Is that Carmelo Anthony? Does he still play for the Golden Nougats?
Oh, the Denver...
Denver Nougats, not the Golden Nougats.
No, I believe he's over in New York.
Oh, Knicks.
Yeah, he's on the Knicks.
Right in the nick of time. You like that? That's improv for you.
See how, folks, that's comedy.
That's comedy. If I could, another nougat of improv. So when outsiders, I'm like alienating people who don't do improv. When people who don't perform improv come up to me and they're like, I don't know how you do it. Like, I can never do it. It's so scary, etc., etc. Like, I came to this realization the other day when I was talking to a friend of mine about this. They're not seeing the normal audience members just not seeing the inside stuff that goes on. Like troops practice and really like practice the techniques, and most of all, they practice trust. Amongst themselves, so that when you go on stage, you're set up to succeed. You're not going to fail because you have this trust between your partner, and it's not the scariest thing. It's like,
it's fun.
It's great. I mean, there is a certain amount of scariness still in it.
Oh yeah,
I'd say, but that's the greatest.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, like, how many theater productions are there where there's people performing in a play and they can't stand, their fellow cast members? Like, oh, this person's so annoying. I have to work with them and I have to memorize these lines and do all these, do the same show over and over and over with them. Whereas with improv, it's almost always done with people you just love, you just genuinely care about.
Oh yeah,
because you work with them so much. You don't meet for 3 months of rehearsals, put on a show, and then it's over. You're with them. It's a year-round thing.
It's like a friend group. It's like a fraternity.
Yeah, no off season. No off season with improv.
No.
Fraternity without the
Without hazing.
The
It's like
hazing.
an uncool fraternity.
Yeah, it's basically a fraternity of geeks and and losers,
Theater nerds. It really it's funny. Like that's part of we were just talking about this. It's actually part of improv theory. Is like the winners in the scene, the quote unquote winners in a scene, never get the laughs. Like
it's the losers.
It's the losers that get the laughs.
Well,
in the scene.
And that ties into comedy with movies as well. At the start of every comedy movie, the main character is never like the best person in that movie. You know, there's flawed. There's something that they're struggling with, and you go with them on that journey, and you know you find them funny with the things they interact with.
Yeah,
you know, like start of the 40-year-old virgin. He's a 40-year-old virgin.
Flawed,
right from the title.
According to society,
right? According to society. But I mean, the movie starts. He like wakes up. He's walking around his apartment. You can tell like he lives there by himself.
And now a recap of 40-year-old.
No, I'm just.
No.
I'm just saying, like as an example, you know, usually within the opening minutes of a movie, they go out of the way to show you how much of a loser the main character is, in the beginning of a comedic film, and improv relates to that as well, because apparently from what we've been taught recently, and I think it makes sense, we are all, you know, kind of losers when we do improv. We're all kind of like the outcasts getting together and putting on something on stage.
Yeah.
So
Luke and I especially are losers because we've been living in Chicago for 6 months, and we're still not getting paid to do what we came up here to do. But it's okay here and there, I guess. But we both hold down day jobs, full 40-hour a week day
holding
jobs.
on to them as best as we can.
Holding on to them for dear life, amongst our other parlays here.
Parlays?
Our other, what's the word I'm looking for? Adventures?
Adventures,
stuff like that.
Yes.
But it really has been a ride so far, and we're definitely happy that we're up here most days.
Most days, yeah. Most days we are pretty happy. We do have our days though where it's like, gosh, what are we doing?
Like when you realize that you're losing weight because you're not eating enough. Like that's a
just to clarify, Dylan is having that issue. Not.
Sorry, guys. Yeah.
That's a personal issue for him.
Yeah.
Well, you know, whereas
that's a personal issue.
He needs to see some help. Poor guy.
Protein. I need some protein.
Which we got plenty of.
Oh man. So Luke and I have been we joined a gym, a special winter promotion, and Luke's been getting some protein shakes, some protein mix
powder.
For, you know, after workouts, you know, like reinvigorating the body, you know, rebuilding those
muscles,
and so he recently had a huge tub of whey protein delivered, and the sender, which was called, well, we won't drop any names. The carrier, the provider.
Ooh. Didn't really provide.
They didn't really provide.
How did they?
They dropped off this package, apparently.
Apparently.
It was lost.
Allegedly, yes.
So, Luke, what, you called Amazon?
I called Amazon.
You called a company that you bought it from.
Yes. Actually, yeah, that's not so bad because, you know, it was through Amazon, but they used a carrier to do it. But, yeah, I was on the phone with these people, and they're like, yeah, well, Amazon was actually really great. They're like, we're going to have to send you another one.
Yeah.
And so
they're
like, we're just gonna assume it's lost, and we're gonna send you another one
because we didn't know where it was. So that one came, and Luke, you know, was happy with his giant tub of protein. That was
5 pounds.
5 pounds of protein. And I come home one day, and there's another package in our room,
in our apartment.
Someone had opened the door and put in another 5-pound package of protein. So it turned out our landlord dropped it in for us, so
and we had to get it, which apparently he saw it and like in the early doorway entrance, and he thought that it was unsafe. It was nice of him to take it, you know, you don't want anyone else to take it, but he didn't let us know, And so he brought it to us later on. But it just, essentially broke into our apartment with his key.
Broke with our key. So basically, we've been living happy, protein-filled lives up here.
Especially recently.
Got
2 5-pound tubs.
But yeah, so, we created this podcast. We're glad you tuned in. We're going to be doing a bunch of these. And, we're happy you're here. We're gonna give you tidbits about improv, tidbits about life, and relationships.
Yeah, we'll get into some specifics as the weeks go on.
Dun dun dun. So I'm Dylan.
I'm Luke.
And
we are roommates.